I'm going to make a list of how you can turn diabetes around. So number one, stop the hybridized wheat. The hybridized wheat. So what do we eat? Let's go down to about 5. What do we eat? Let's go down to about 5. Vegetable diet. What you eat is a high vegetable diet. Remember this, vegetables are high in fiber, high in minerals, low in sugars. Fruit is high in fiber. Remember this, vegetables are high in fiber, high in minerals, low in sugars. Initially, fruit is high in fiber and high in sugar. If you have fruit, it's low in minerals. GI fruit. So when you're looking at turning this around, to get initially a glycemic index very little of the fruit. Generous. And if you have fruit, amounts of protein, it's low GI fruit. You will find on the glycemic index that lentils, garbanzos, lima beans, black-eyed beans, cannellini beans, kidney beans, so many legumes. Generous. We should eat them every day. Amounts of protein. They are very nice. You will find on the glycemic index that lentils, garbanzos, lima beans, so what's your protein? Protein is your legumes. Beans, kidney beans, so many legumes. One man said to me he went to a health retreat in America 10 years ago. We should eat them every day. As a diabetic, and he said, I was told that I had to eat legumes. Lots of them. He said, I did. They are very nice. It's 10 years later now, and he's on no medication and managing well. So what's your protein? Protein is your legumes. And seeds. One man said to me he went to a health retreat in America 10 years ago as a diabetic, and he said, I was told that I had to eat legumes. Which is lots of them. He said, I did. Generous proteins and your healthy fats. It's 10 years later now, and he's on no medication and managing well. So what are your good fats? Nuts, seeds, avocado, coconut oil, and seeds. Coconut in all its forms, and olive oil. These three are high and very low carbs. I meant to say high fibre there. So the carbohydrates that are low GI are vegetables. Generous proteins and your healthy fats. And quinoa. So what are your good fats? Nuts. And for your bread, seeds. Avocado. You can go spelt. Coconut oil and spelt and kamut. Coconut in all its forms and olive oil. Wild hybrids of the original wheat. So it's basically what wheat used to be like. And very low carbs. So they're the foods. It is that diet. So the carbohydrates that are low GI, the blood glucose levels in the body. Millet. If you want to read on this a little bit more, Dr. William Davis's book Wheat Belly. He goes into detail on the, and for your bread, amylopectin, the different starches, yeah? You can go spelt. Yeah, and spelt. Always sourdough. And kamut. What sourdough does is it breaks down the protein or the gluten in the grain and makes it more digestible. Wild, it actually also increases the original protein content of it. So it's basically and because it breaks down the gluten structure, it actually lowers the carbohydrate content. So they're the foods. And that's, of course, what you're looking for. It is that diet that will help the paleo diet, the FODMAP diet, the blood glucose levels in the body. Basically, it's that sort of a diet. But it's a vegetarian diet. If you want to read on this a little bit more, let me show you how you can do the paleo diet. Dr. William Davis, there's no doubt about it. The Atkins diet and the paleo diet goes into detail, conquer diabetes and conquer it very quickly. On the amylopectin, the different we're going to have a look at the food. We're going to have a look at the protein content and the carbohydrate content, because as you can see from this list, this high does is it breaks down the protein or the gluten in the grain and makes it more digestible. And we're going to go to Genesis 1:29. It actually also increases what to eat. The protein God said, "Behold, I've given you every herb-bearing seed which is upon the face of the earth." It actually lowers the carbohydrate. A grain is a herb-bearing seed, and a legume is a herb-bearing seed. And you've heard of the paleo diet, FODMAP diet, you've heard of Atkins diet. So what about grain? It's that sort of a diet. Wheat, rye, barley, oats, amaranth, buckwheat. It's a vegetarian diet. Grains are high in protein, but they are quite high in carbohydrate. Let me show you how you can do the paleo diet. How many on our carbohydrate list? There's no doubt about it. The Atkins diet and the paleo diet conquer diabetes and conquer it very quickly. So it's a high-carb diet. We're going to have a look at the food. What about legumes? We're going to have a look at the chickpeas, lima beans, protein content and the carbohydrate content, because as you can see from this list, this high carb is actually
protein,
a big
and
contributing
medium to
factor
low
to diabetes
in
And we're
carbohydrates.
going to go to Genesis 1:29, where God tells Adam and Eve
Now
what
you'll
to
find in
eat.
the FODMAP diet. Have you
And
heard
God
of the
said,
FODMAP
"Behold,
diet?
I've given you every herb-bearing seed which is upon the face of the earth." What's a herb-bearing seed?
Legumes.
A grain is a herb-bearing
seed.
seed,
Digested in the human gut.
and a legume is a
the human gut
herb-bearing
that can't
seed.
digest them isn't working well. So all we
And
need to
a
do
seed
is listen
is a
to the lecture I
herb-bearing
gave
seed.
yesterday on how to restore proper gut function, and
So
then
what
the
about
legumes can be
grain?
handled.
Well,
Most people
wheat,
suffer
rye,
some
barley,
wind or
oats,
flatulence with
amaranth,
legumes because they
buckwheat,
don't rinse them
quinoa.
enough. Ideally,
Grains
you
are
soak
high
them and then you cook them in
in
a pot after
protein,
you've
but
rinsed
they
them.
are
And in
quite
another
high
pot, you
in
have a nice rich
carbohydrate.
sauce cooking. And when the legumes are
How many
three-quarters
on our
cooked,
carbohydrate
rinse
list
them.
are
You see the
from
colour of the water.
grain?
What's the colour of the water?
Cereal, bread, cakes,
Grey.
pretzels, pizza,
There's your wind.
pasta.
Got that? You rinse that away, and then you put your
it's a
legumes into your lovely
high-carb
rich
diet
sauce and let
is
that
usually
cook for
from
about
the grain
another half
department.
hour.
What about
That's the
legumes?
way to eat legumes,
What's
and you
a
won't have a
legume?
problem. If you still
Chickpeas,
have a
lima
problem,
beans,
you probably need to
Newcott,
listen to the lecture
garbanzos,
last night
black-eyed
and learn
beans,
how to boost your
lentils,
hydrochloric
soy.
acid.
Soy's
your
only a problem
digestion.
if it's been genetically modified.
Seeds. What's a
High
seed? In a seed, we've got chia
in
seed,
protein
flaxseed,
and medium to low
or flaxseed or linseed,
in
same
carbohydrates.
seed. Sunflower, pumpkin seed. Seeds are high in protein.
And
Now
they
you'll
are
find
quite
in the
low in
FODMAP diet. Have
carbohydrate.
you heard of the
And God
FODMAP
said,
diet?
"Behold, I've given you
I've met
every
people
herb-bearing
who've
seed
had
which is upon the face
huge
of the
change
earth
in the
and every
FODMAP
tree."
diet. But the
In the
FODMAP
which of the trees
diet
are fruit-bearing
damns
seed?
legumes.
Fruit-bearing seed is
It
a nut.
says that they cannot be
So nuts,
digested
we've
in
got
the human gut.
almond, Brazil,
That's because the
hazelnut,
human
cashew,
gut that can't digest them
walnut,
isn't working well.
pecan
So
nut,
all we need
so
to
many
do
nuts,
is
macadamias.
listen to the lecture
Nuts
I
are
gave
high
yesterday on how to restore
in
proper
protein,
gut
low in
function, and then
carbohydrate.
the legumes can be handled.
And that's
Most
why
people
this is the diet
suffer
that
some
works.
wind or
Because
flatulence
in this
with
diet
legumes
here,
because they don't rinse
you're
them
consuming
enough.
more legumes, seeds and nuts.
Ideally, you
and
soak
less
them
grain.
and then you cook them in a pot after
You
you've
see, your
rinsed them. And
legumes
in
are
another
about a
pot, you
third
have
the
a nice
carbohydrate
rich sauce
content that you will
cooking.
find
And when the
in your
legumes are three-quarters cooked, rinse them. You see
Changing
the
the
colour of
diet
the
makes
water.
a
What's the
massive
colour of the
difference.
water?
A lot of people eat the carbohydrates to
Grey.
fill themselves up, but the
There's
fact
your
is it
wind.
doesn't.
Got that?
It gives a quick high
You
and then a
rinse that
corresponding
away,
low. Yes?
and then you put your
The only time you
legumes
lose weight
into
is if
your
you're not eating
lovely
enough
rich
protein.
sauce and let
And Dr.
that cook
Atkins
for
showed this
about
very,
another
very
half
clearly.
hour.
He said, if you're
That's
eating
the way
adequate
to eat
protein, you will never
legumes,
lose muscle.
and you won't have a problem.
So
if
what
you still
I
have
do
a problem,
is I eat
you
legumes
probably need
every
to
meal,
listen to
and
the
I eat
lecture
nuts and
last
seeds
night
every meal.
and learn how
And
to
I don't
boost
lose the
your
muscle, and I
hydrochloric
don't lose the
acid,
weight.
your
I just stay the same.
digestion. So that's often the missing link.
Seeds. What's a
Is the
seed?
protein.
In a seed,
and
we've
when
got
people
chia
go
seed,
vegetarian,
flaxseed,
they often become protein
or
deficient.
flaxseed or linseed.
One
same
lady said
seed.
to me, "You're right."
Sunflower,
She said,
pumpkin
"A year
seed.
ago, my family and I
Seeds are
decided
high
to
in
become
protein,
vegetarian, become healthy." She
and
said,
they are quite
"We've
low
all
in
lost so much weight.
carbohydrate.
We've got no
And God
energy."
said,
I
"Behold,
said, "What are
I've
you
given
eating?"
you every
"Oh,
herb-bearing
pasta,
seed which
bread,
is upon the face
cereal,
of the
rice."
earth and every
Aha.
tree.
In the which of the trees are fruit-bearing seed? So
Fruit-bearing
that's
seed
often
is
the
a
missing
nut.
link. And yeah, it's the
So
protein.
nuts, we've
I'm
got
going to make a list
almond,
of how
Brazil,
you can turn diabetes
hazelnut,
around.
cashew,
So number one, stop
walnut,
the
pecan
hybridized
nut,
wheat.
so many nuts, macadamias. Nuts are high.
So what do we eat? Let's go down to about
in protein,
5.
low in carbohydrate.
What you eat is a high
And that's why
vegetable diet.
this is the diet that works. Because in this diet here,
Remember this,
you're
vegetables are high in
consuming
fiber,
more
high in
legumes,
minerals, low in
seeds
sugars.
and nuts.
Fruit
and
is high
less
in fiber,
grain.
high in sugar,
You
low
see,
in
your
minerals.
legumes
So
are
when you're
about
looking
a
at
third
turning
the
this around,
carbohydrate
initially,
content that you will
very
find
little of
in
the
your
fruit.
grain.
And if you have fruit, it's low GI fruit. And it's not hard
Changing the diet
to get
makes a
a
massive difference.
glycemic
A
index
lot of
chart.
people eat the carbohydrates
Generous
to fill themselves up, but the fact
amounts
is it
of
doesn't.
protein.
It gives a quick high.
You will find
and
on
then
the
a
glycemic
corresponding
index
low.
that
Yes?
lentils, garbanzos, lima beans,
only time
black-eyed
you
beans,
lose weight is
cannellini
if
beans,
you're not
kidney
eating
beans,
enough
so
protein.
many legumes.
And Dr.
We should eat them
Atkins
every
showed
day.
this very, very clearly. He said, if you're eating
They
adequate protein, you will never
They are
lose
very
muscle.
nice level on the glycemic
So
index.
what I do is I eat legumes every
So what's
meal.
your protein?
And I eat
Protein
nuts
is your
and
legumes.
seeds every meal.
One
And
man
I
said to
don't
me he
lose
went
the
to a health
muscle and
retreat
I
in
don't
America
lose the
10 years
weight.
ago
I just stay
as
the
a
same.
diabetic, and he said, I was told
So that's
that I had
often
to
the
eat
missing link,
legumes. Lots
is
of
the
them. He said,
protein.
I did. And when people
It's
go
10 years later now,
vegetarian
and he's on
they
no medication
often
and managing well.
become protein deficient.
Nuts.
One lady said to me, you're right.
And seeds.
She said, a year ago, my family
These
and I
three
decided
are
to become
high-
vegetarian, become healthy. She said,
I meant to say
we've
high
all
fibre
lost
then.
so much weight. We've got no
High fibre,
energy.
which is
I said, what are
high
you
vegetables.
eating? Oh,
generous
pasta,
proteins
bread,
and your healthy fats.
cereal, rice. Aha.
So what are your good fats? Nuts, seeds, avocado,
So that's
coconut
often
oil,
the missing link.
and
Yeah, is the
coconut in
protein.
all its forms. And